players and fans, in the spirit of good sportsmanship, the Hurricanes request that you refrain from running onto the court or throwing objects at the participants or game officials. We also remind you that any spectator going into the court or immediate court area or interrupting play in any manner will be ejected from the building. Should you require immediate medical attention, please contact the building security officer or a member of the Scotiabank Center event staff for assistance. All right, Caniacs, let's put those hands together and make some noise to welcome our number one fans, Swish and Lil Swish. Today's opponents, with a record of 13-24, currently sitting in 5th place in the Atlantic Division, please welcome the Moncton Miracles. Starting today for Moncton from Benedict, 6'7" forward number 5, Tydran Beatty. Out of Nevada, 6'5" card number 7, Malik Story. Welcome 6'6" card out of Arkansas State, number 13, Melvin Johnson III. Wearing number 23 out of Iowa State, welcome 5'11" card, Corey Lucius. And rounding out the starting squad, number 33, big man 6'9" center out of Southeastern, Tim Mitchell. The head coach of the Miracles is Paul Mokeski.
Somebody save your soul, cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night, you're a hot one to hold. Cause you don't even know, I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say your friend change round. But I can make your hands clap. And I can make your hands clap. Turn it up. And I can make your hands clap. And I can make your hands clap. So can I get a hand clap?
It's time to get loud and proud. Halifax, welcome with a record of 26-11, currently at the top of the Atlantic Division and reigning NBL Canada champions, your Halifax Hurricanes. Sitting out tonight with an injury, number 1, 6'6" power forward, Tyrone Watson. Welcome to the floor, number 2, 6'2" card out of Thompson Rivers, Taquan Zimmerman. With a big night last home game, welcome 6'3" card out of the University of Alberta, number 5, Kenny Ochedo. Welcome the pride of St. Mary's University, 6'1" guard number 7, Chewy Haywood. Also on IR tonight, welcome 6'9" center out of Cincinnati, number 9, Coriante DeBerry. Welcome the electric 6'6" forward out of Georgetown, number 15, Aaron Bowen. Proudly representing the T-Dot right here in Halle, welcome 6'9" center, number 22, Ronaldo Dixon. And the most popular guy in Halifax this side of the mayor, welcome 6'8" center, number 24, Anthony Cox. Now your starters, Halifax, welcome out of Rutgers University, 6'5", small forward and unstoppable from behind the arc, number 10, Mike Poole. He just can't miss, 6'2" guard out of Auburn, number 14, Antoine Mason. Just as big a threat inside as out, 6'7" power forward out of Alabama, number 20, CJ Washington. The very guy the Moncton Miracles don't want to meet in a dark alley, welcome 6'8" power forward, number 23, Billy White. And last but not least, your captain out of DePaul, 6' guard, number 12, Cliff Clinkscales. The Hurricanes are led by head coach Mike Leslie with assistant coaches Stephen Brown, Chris Pagentine, and Joe Wells. With physiotherapy provided by the Physio Clinics, Kaylee Robertson. Ladies and gentlemen, your reigning NBL champion, Halifax Hurricanes. Now fans, please stand, remove your caps, and join the Halifax Grammar School Prep School Choir under the direction of Sean Wynot in the singing of our national anthem. Joining them is a color party provided by members of the HMCS Scotian, a Naval Reserve division located in Halifax. Members of Scotian are in attendance with us this afternoon as part of their 70th anniversary celebration.
The final week of the NBL regular season kicks off here this afternoon from Halifax, Nova Scotia, the Scotiabank Center. It is a maritime rivalry. It is the Moncton Miracles playing their 38th game this afternoon. Also playing their 38th game this afternoon, the Halifax Hurricanes. And for these Moncton Miracles, they are in a must-win situation as they are fighting for that fourth and final playoff spot. Ty Duran Beatty, Malik Story, Melvin Johnson, Corey Lucius, and Timothy Mitchell, the starting five for them. And for the Hurricanes, Mike Poole, Cliff Clinkscales, Antoine Mason, CJ Washington, and Billy White, the starting five for them. Hi everybody, my name is Dan Hobson, joined alongside here as usual by Vince Williams.
If we could have the captains
the
at
Silver
center
Vision
court
crew, glad to bring this one to you. As I mentioned off the top, Vince, this is a must-win situation. The Moncton Miracles
of the HMCS
had a little bit of a
Scotian,
disappointing
Commander
Friday night. They went
Owen
into triple
Brine.
overtime against a team that's also fighting for their playoff lives, the Niagara River Lions, and they came away with the loss and now find themselves half a game out, sitting in 5th spot here in the Atlantic Division, while the Hurricanes are just trying to finish off the schedule. Let's get your thoughts on this one here, Bob.
Well, I tell you what, the Moncton Miracles, like you mentioned, a very tough.
Thank you, Commander Brine. Thanks to the Naval Reserve Division celebrating their 70th anniversary.
It's going to be very interesting the last few games for this team, as they got a very tough road to try to get that 4th and last position in the Atlantic Division. Now, if you look at the analytics, you look at the schedules.
Let's get those hands
the
together.
Moncton Miracles.
Let's bring home one final regular season win for the good guys. Make some noise, Hallie!
Now, tonight, this afternoon against the Halifax Hurricanes, they have not been good at all. They have 6-1 overall. The only win that they were able to beat the Halifax Hurricanes were at home, and they were not able to get it done here at Scotiabank Center. For the Miracles, they pretty much have to play out the string, but it's going to be 2 important games, the last 2 important games of the season for them, to get that final 4th position in the Atlantic Division, where they'll go head-to-head in a home-and-home series against the Cape Breton Highlanders. So this is all a prelude up to those last 2 games, but Cape Breton has a game in hand after they play that home-and-home series. So it's going to be a pretty interesting week in the Atlantic Division in the National Basketball League of Canada for the Moncton Miracles and the Cape Breton Highlanders. On the flip side, the Halifax Hurricanes playing their final home game here at Scotiabank. They've been very good this season, Dan. 14-5 is their record, home record, so they've been very good here holding court, and they've been doing a good job of being consistent on this current homestand. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of teams come out. Is Miracles are playing desperate basketball, or will the Hurricanes lay up a little bit and not sustain any type of injuries to their main players?
Officials this afternoon, Matt Boyle, Brian States, and Todd McGinnis out of Prince Edward Island. First possession belonging to the Hurricanes. White over Mitchell, and that goes in and out. Washington trying to tap it out. CJ Washington had 22 points for them in a 107-104 loss the last time these teams met. Was unable to come up with a rebound. Here's Corey Lucius out of Iowa State, 5'11". Adrian Beatty, one of the leftovers from last year's team, unable to hit that time here. Quickly inside in transition, Washington unable to hit as Todd McGinnis calls our first foul of the afternoon.
An outstanding stretch pass there
Miracles
in transition.
Foul on number 13,
CJ
Melvin
running without
Johnson,
the basketball.
his
Good
first
job of
team
beating his
foul,
man
number
up the
1.
court. Great court awareness, always displayed by this
Washington
Halifax
hits
team.
the
What I would
line.
like to see in this game for Halifax as we get a little bit closer to the playoffs, I want to see them be more aggressive defensively, meaning that they're containing, they're contesting, and they're blocking out and limiting their opponents to the one-and-dones. Because all their offense, when they're successful, when they're getting very successful here at home and on the road, all their offense has come off the strength of their defense. So looking to see how they mature and get a little bit better defensively and responsibly defensively is going to be probably one of the key vocal points that Coach Mike Leslie's going to key on in the last few ball games.
Washington only able to hit 1 or 2 there at the stripe that time. Coming back is Moncton. And a nice little move there by Malik Story out of Nevada.
For 2.
He had a pretty good game the last time these teams met. 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 downtown, for a total of 21 points in that win the last time these teams met on April 13th, 107-104. White back out to Poole, who's starting this afternoon. Tyrone Watson inactive here for this game. Injured. Mason now tries a little finger roll, and it rolls around and in. Gets him going here
Washington
for 2, and it makes it 3-2 here. They passed the minute-and-a-half mark here in the opening quarter. Mitchell gets a little bit of a lucky bounce, as that was short, but bounced in.
Mitchell.
And it gives the Miracles a lead of 4-3. Here is Poole now. As White set the screen, now he'll get the ball. Coming up to 2 gone here in the opening quarter. Bounce pass, Washington. A little bit of contact against Mitchell. Tough bucket, but it goes.
Great scales.
9:53 left. Here's an outside three, and you got to be careful of that one. And shooting that was Melvin Johnson III. He's averaging 21.5 points against these Hurricanes in 6 regular season matchups.
And he can definitely shoot it from beyond the arc, Dan. He's one of the best amongst the league leaders in the National Basketball League of Canada. So you can't allow Johnson III's standstill threes from beyond the arc.
Well, you mentioned how strong he is. 60% it works out to be. 135 for 225.
Melvin Johnson.
As Johnson comes back, and Moncton stretch the lead out to a 4-point game now, 9-5 here. Just seconds shy of the 3-minute mark. Washington airs it out. Yes, sir. From downtown, and that makes it a 1-point game just like that. Washington carrying his hot play over into this one, Vince.
Yeah, very nice shot there from beyond the arc, and not a lot of threes have we saw all season long from CJ, but if he can extend that type of game from his post play to his ability to hit that shot, he's going to be very tough going into the playoffs.
And quite the opposite for the Moncton Miracles. They live and die on the threes, and we'll talk about that throughout the broadcast. Here's Corey Lucius. And they'll sway it around to Beatty here. From the elbow, a jumper, and it doesn't go, and White with the weak side rebound here. Here's Clay Scales, the team captain. Was not too happy with his play and thought that he was really one of the reasons why they came away with the loss against the Iowa Storm Thursday. Meantime, Washington puts up the bucket once again. Off to a good start, 10-9 for him. Lucius crosses the timeline. A lot of elbows there as they were trying to set screens there. Entry pass, 9 to shoot. Mitchell backs in, off the glass and went in against CJ Washington. Really not much he could do there. Well defended. Sometimes it was just a little more, he had a little bit of luck and physicality too.
Yeah, absolutely. That matchup is going to be a pretty interesting one this afternoon. As you can see though, I like the way Moncton is playing so far. Good put back there by CJ. He's on fire right now. The Miracles have no answer for him defensively, but I like the Miracles trying to get the ball inside and get Mitchell involved early into this game.
Story now. And right there, man on the spot once again. Washington quickly up, back the other way. Mason lays it up and in, and makes it 14-11. And he quickly gets back. They had numbers there where the Moncton Miracles, but weren't able to get a shot there. And speaking of shot, there's a big one from well out there by Malik Story.
And you mentioned he hit 3 of 6 from downtown. And in the previous game against Halifax, he can shoot that shot. Him and Johnson are a very good tandem shooting that 3 ball.
White there with the bucket. You talk about the 3 ball, 42.7% Malik Story from outside the arc, 16-14. Johnson the third for 3.
That is a silky smooth shot and delivery by Johnson. Good ball screen there. Johnson coming off it, spot it up and knock it down. So the Miracles right now are doing an outstanding job of staying with the Halifax Hurricanes. The Miracles coming off a road trip where on Friday night, you mentioned they lost to the River Lions. They had to drive 19 hours back from St. Catharines to Moncton and then get about 6 hours sleep and then get up for this game. So you're talking about adversity, a team up against it and still fighting for their playoff lives. They got to be very tired right now, a very tired basketball team after a very long road trip.
Well, exactly. It was like they played like 48 minutes. That wasn't good enough, so then they played an extra 5 and another extra 5 and another extra 5.
Exactly.
I mean,
you compound those overtimes too with the travel.
Like Scales, elbow jumper, and he won the one. There's a quick pass up ahead there. A little bit too far, turned over as it was out of the reach there of Timothy Mitchell, who's number 4 in the NBL in field goal percentage. Whistle stops play once again. Going to be a new 24 here for the Hurricanes as we come up to 3 seconds shy of the halfway point here in the first quarter. As we take a look at the team captain.
Yeah, Tyger Mbidi not happy with that call as he was able to get his hand on that long stretch pass. He thought he maybe got fouled there, and the reason why he lost the handle on the end line there. Nevertheless, it will remain the Hurricanes' possession.
Give it go, Clink Scales, Washington. Now it's Mason trying to go with the big hammer.
Wow, I tell you, that was a drive and a half, splitting the defense.
Fouled, but he'll go to the line to shoot two.
Antoine
Miracles
Mason
foul
trying to
on Tim Mitchell,
posterize
his first
his man. It's a beautiful
team
move
foul,
coming off that
3.
screen, splitting the defense. And he was rising up inside that paint here. I don't think that Tim Mitchell thought that he was going to get up or even attempt to throw it down. But once Mitchell was there, Mason just took it to another gear and elevated and was almost able to finish through the contact. So an outstanding play individually there by Antoine Mason. He's looking to be very aggressive this afternoon for the Hurricanes, Dan.
Very much, and of course 18-17 to score right now here as we just passed the halfway point here of the opening quarter in a must-win situation here for the Moncton Miracles. Funny, all teams in action here this afternoon. Pretty well every team in the league having a little game, so definitely a lot of scoreboard watching will be going on, because I know that the Miracles want to know what the Cape Breton Highlanders will be doing later on today.
Well, it's that time of the year where, you know, teams are on the bubble and fighting for their playoff lives. There's definitely going to be a lot of scoreboard watching and a lot of anxiety for fans, hoping that their fan base, their team gets into the playoffs. But, you know, that fourth and final spot in the Atlantic Division, it's not going to be one that's going to be much of a present, because you're going to go up against a team that has won 14 basketball games here at Scotiabank Center, and a team that's going to be well rested. They have a couple guys inactive today, and Watson and DeBerry, they're getting healthy for the stretch drive for the playoff run. And then you got guys that are playing very well in the reserve roles, and there are other roles that are doing a good job and are starting to take a shape here. Well, 2 weeks ago, we were a little worried. The fan base was a little worried when they had consecutive losses here at Scotiabank Center, and they had some tough losses on the road. Got a little worried to think that it might be a little bit of a letdown, but they have responded in the last few ball games, getting the W's, and you can see that this team is starting to catch their stride, and they're going to be very tough to beat
Mason at the line,
defending their
shooting the
championship.
deuce.
Yeah, well, I was talking to the coaching staff, and they said, well, the league is so competitive, you know, every team goes through it. They weren't really concerned about it. Maybe the fan base was, but they weren't. So,
right.
As Antoine Mason, who's 65% from the line, misses the first one.
And that's usually the answer that they give anyway. Teams are not going to say that, you know, there is a sense of urgency or a sense of panic. No panic, but they always say there's a sense of urgency when it comes to getting things right and making sure that, you know, they have all their bullets in the holster when it comes to playoff time.
Good jump ball, but it was like an unfortunate situation. Melvin Johnson III was looking for a foul, but he blew a tire and slipped. And this is the thing, you get into like sort of like the spring weather here at Scotiabank Center. The ice is no longer in here. It's you know, all of a sudden like have maybe a little bit of moisture on the floor possibly, so that's causing some maybe slipperage there, but Miracles will keep the ball.
We definitely hope not. These guys, you know, invested a lot of time and energy throughout the regular season to not have the opportunity to play in the playoffs. So hopefully we get through this game without anybody getting injured and be able to finish out the regular season on a healthy note.
And that's why probably Mike Leslie, he would just love to get through this week. Doesn't care whether in terms of like in terms of victories or anything like that. Clink Scales, Washington 2-on-1 and bucket.
Washington from Clink Scales.
21-17. Here's a steal by Poole, and he just gets there in time to keep it alive. And the two-handed throwdown. Largest lead this afternoon. 6-point game, 23-17. Coming up to 5 left here in the opening frame. Lucius on the floor as well as Story. Guarded there by Poole, and Poole's wondering what he did, but called there by the foul there by Matt Boyle. And going to the bench is Coach McKeskey's going to bring in Bird and Carney.
And Brendan Kearney.
And Bird could shoot the three as well. A lot of good three shooters here on this team.
Yeah, not too bad from three-point range is Russell Bird. It's been very good all season long.
176 out of 457 works out to be 30.5%.
And 16 three-pointers attempted already in these first 12 minutes, 8 apiece and make it 9. That's the 9 three-pointer as Story gets that to bounce and rattle home. So, as you mentioned, the Miracles like to put it up at a prolific pace from beyond the arc, but the Hurricanes, you know, it's kind of unfamiliar territory as they like to get the ball inside and work it on the outside. So they get the ball inside through their bigs and then work it on the outside.
It's two total opposite teams as White will go into the paint with a nice little finger roll, lays it in.
From Mason.
4:25 left to go. A team that relies on the three versus one that likes to take it into the paint. And even the numbers as Lucius comes back and hits there. The three-point attempts this season for the Hurricanes have only taken 885 from outside the arc compared to the Moncton Miracles, 1,238. So it goes to show you that they rely heavily on it, live and die on it, as I mentioned earlier.
And they got 3 prolific scorers from that particular distance. And you touched on it in the early going in this game with Johnson III and Malik Story. Then you add Russell Bird coming off the bench. That's a good compliment. No letdown in that three-point shooting percentage and attempts as well. And able to knock it down as Russell Bird's a very good shooter from that distance, as I mentioned several times.
Carney gets hacked. He'll go to the line. He's a fantastic three-throw shooter this year. 28 of 35. Small numbers, of course, in his second stint with the Miracles. 80% from the line as he sinks the first one. It's a three-point game now, 25-22.
So you can see the shuffling of the lineup, guys getting a chance to play as Cordell Gentil checking into the game. And you can see that Coach Paul McKeskey is going to try to use all 12 guys available this afternoon, coming off of that very tough road trip in the Central Division after that long.
Billy White unable to finish on a nice quick pass there by Mason. He'll go to the line to finish up your point there on
that long road trip.
Yeah, 22 minutes there in their game. April 13th, 10 points
Miracles
and 6
foul
rebounds
on Brandon Kearney.
against
His
the
first
Hurricanes.
team
Last
foul,
time
number
that these
4.
teams met at the Moncton Coliseum.
Billy White at the
Billy
line,
White
shooting 2.
To shoot 2, 77% this season.
Yeah, Billy's been very good this season for the Hurricanes. If there was an award and different team awards, I would definitely say Billy White's either in the running for team MVP or definitely most improved player. Last year, more of a role player in that championship campaign, but this year he's been a leader and a constant professional game in, game out.
Malik Story going end to end and fouled there with 3:39 left.
Halifax foul on Poole, his second team
You see
foul.
now they'll bring one of
Number
the court
3.
attendants there, the kids down along the court here to wipe off some moisture onto
Bowen
the floor. Story will
in.
go to the line. 83% this season there is the Miracle player. One of the things that may be a little bit of a hinder to this Moncton Miracle team, Vince, they're finished, they're 9th right now in NBL free throw shooting percentage at 68.4% coming into the game this afternoon.
Yeah, you can't win basketball games so you can't hit free throws, especially in the fourth quarter. Rebounding free throws are very important in winning games. They usually decide games, especially when tight contested games down the stretch.
Well, the Hurricanes, they're also not really great in that category too. They came into this game 7th, 72.2% in the 10-team league. Bowen was driving towards the hoop and draws the contact and is going against Kearney, and he'll have free throws coming
Moncton
up.
foul on Kearney, his second.
The parade's continuing
Team foul
here
number
with
5.
multiple substitutions. As
Darryl
Kearney
Wall
checks
in.
right back
Bowen
out,
at
so
the
Paul
line,
McKeskey
shooting
not
2.
happy with the play of Kearney as Darryl Wong checks into the game for the first time. So you can see Coach McKeskey trying to keep guys fresh here.
Yeah, they made a little uniform change. I know a lot of people probably back home watching who are Moncton Miracle fans probably thinking Wong doesn't wear number 30, but he is here this afternoon, so just a little note on that. And of course, Theo Davis on the lineup for them. That's a scratch for them as Bird's called for the foul. So Theo Davis,
Miracles foul
scratch as we
on
mentioned, and
Russell
for the
Bird, his
Hurricanes,
first.
Tyrone Watson out of New
Team
Mexico
foul, number
State,
6.
not dressed here this afternoon, so the Hurricanes are going to have to do it with 11 people. Haywood out on the floor, gets the pass from Bowen, who sends it inside here to Anthony Cox. Against Gentil, over Gentil, too strong. And the weak side rebound there picked up by Malik Story. Good defense there by Gentil. He now has the ball. Here is Bird now. 2:57 left. Swings it out to Story. Open look for three. A big rainbow shot that doesn't go. White lost the handle momentarily. Regains it. Goes coast to coast. Up and in and one.
As I mentioned several times, Billy playing outstanding basketball at a very high level. Was able to grab that rebound, and as you mentioned, went coast to coast, was able to finish through the contact.
Penalty in effect.
He was able to weave his way through that painted area. Billy White's been very good this season for the Hurricanes.
That may make the NBL plays of the week. Vince, we'll have to wait to see as he completes the three-point play. And it's a 7-point lead once again as we are 2:40 left to go here in the first quarter. Bird swings it in the wing there. Rel Tate getting some playing time here. Bird has the ball, shot clock at 9. It's a return pass for Bird, drives into the paint. And that almost fell, but just a little bit short, but it's going to be a foul against the Hurricanes. And it's going against Haywood. And Tate will shoot 2 here from the line.
Foul on Haywood, his first. Team foul number 4.
Tate also one of the players that played last year here for the Miracles. 93 of 115 from the line, works out to be 80.9%, and
Terrell
that
Tate
one
at the line
goes down just on cue, and it makes it a 6-point game. Terrell Tate, 6'5" forward out of Fayetteville State. Loves playing the Hurricanes. Has missed 1 game. This is, of course, the 7th time that these teams are facing off, and he missed a game against them, but he's played 5 in the regular season against them and has averaged 10.8 points a game when he's been playing. Haywood! The usual throwback move that we've seen when he was with the Huskies as he puts that up and in.
Very quick move to the basket. Joey Haywood's showing his quickness and outstanding ball handling skills and great concentration to get that one to go off the window. You really want to see Joey Haywood and the reserve guys from the Hurricanes be very good this afternoon as they round into shape here going into the playoffs. And Joey Haywood's going to be very important in the playoff stretch drive coming off the bench in the reserve role.
Gentil up fake. Changes his mind now over Cox. That's short. It was a battle there. Bird tipped it, but put it right in the hands of the Hurricanes, and Billy White had it. Hands it off to Haywood, who gets across the timeline. 1:50 left. Burst of speed over Bird, but well short. It goes out of bounds, and it will touch a Hurricane player, so it will be Moncton Miracle ball. 1:46 left to go.
And that's the advantage that you have in a ball handling like Joey Haywood. The quickness when the switch from guard to big, he's able to beat his big off the dribble and get to that paint area and cause problems defensively for the other team. Now, if he can get a little bit more consistent and finish at the rim, it's going to be very good in that reserve role.
A 3 there by Wong is too strong. Goes out the other side. Hurricanes come up with it. Taquan Zimmerman. He has really improved as the later stages of the season in terms of shooting threes. His percentage has been going up. Out here on the floor, he'll get a chance to air it up for 3. Yes, sir. The clock at 7.
Yeah, very consistent three-point shooter. He's probably been one of their best three-point shooter all season long. Taquan Zimmerman had some very big moments here throughout the season where he was counted upon to knock down some very big 3 balls in the latter stages of games and close games out and get some good, get some W's on the, and particularly on the road. So he's been very good from that distance.
Malik Story
Cox called for the foul. Would be his first. Story to the line. Largest lead of the afternoon here for the Hurricanes. And the woes from the free throw line continuing here for the Miracles as Story misses his first one. Exactly 60 seconds left to go in the first. Unable to hit that time, so They go 0 from the stripe there from the freebie line, and it didn't work out for them. Bowing the Georgetown product through traffic, and Taquan Zimmerman there with the putback, puts it in. A 12-point lead, 38-26.
It's good to see Taquan contributing offensively this afternoon, as he was held pointless on Friday against the Island Storm. So his productivity is a whole lot better this afternoon than it was on Friday evening.
Jonty with another air ball inside the Cox, and uses a little bit of his height advantage on that one to put it in. It's a 14-point game. Story will hold here for the last shot. Hurricanes do have a foul to give. Shot clock at 6. Story will put it up over Zimmerman. That's no good. It hits the window. Cox comes up with it off the board
The
and then hands it off to Haywood, and that's how this opening first quarter goes here.
Not needing any miracles.
Moncton Miracles
40.
were close, but all of a sudden the Hurricanes started finding their range, and the Moncton Miracles were kind of missing. Like Jonty had a miss there, Russell Bird had a miss, so then the Hurricanes transitioned that one into points and now have a, I'd say, comfortable lead, but of course there's still lots of basketball to be played. 40-26 after the opening 12
And
minutes.
you can see there was, in that first 12 minutes, it was definitely a game of attrition for the Moncton Miracles. They came out a pretty hot start, took the lead, was able to sustain a little bit of the lead in the first part of that first 12 minutes, but the second half of the 12 minutes, you can see after multiple substitutions by Coach Paul McKeskey, trying to keep guys fresh, trying to keep lineups consistent, they lost their consistency shooting. Their shooting went down a little bit. They were unable to knock down shots, and the Hurricanes made the adjustment. The Hurricanes did a good defensive job, limited them to the one and dones, came back the other way and was able to execute offensively. 40 points in a quarter, that's a good quarter, that's a good start. And giving up and surrendering 26, good defensive start as well. So going forward, and we mentioned it several times, because of the travel time, because of the not getting much time to actually rest for this particular game, coming off of that long road trip, the Miracles are going to be tired, and it's going to be a tough job for Coach Paul McKeskey to try to keep guys fresh and try to keep this lineup consistent. Because when you bring guys in and you're shuffling guys in and out, you lose that consistency of guys playing with each other, and you've seen it, and that's the reason there was a drop-off offensively in the latter stages, and the Hurricanes took great advantage of it, and that's the reason why they have this big lead here going into the second quarter.
The first quarter stats here, and total field goal percentage for the Hurricanes, 16-24, 66%, and 2 of 5 from downtown, and 6 of 9 from the free throw line. 9 of 9 for the Moncton Miracles, works out to be 47%. 3 of 7 from downtown, that's their game, and 62.5% there from the free throw line, 5 of 8. And the high man there, right now, C.J. Washington continuing his hot play. 28 against the Island Storm over in Charlottetown Thursday, 12 here this afternoon.
Yeah, Watson has had an outstanding game in the first 12 minutes of that quarter. Dan, 5 for 5 from the field, and including a 3-ball as well, something that we have not been accustomed to seeing from his type of game. But if he can knock down that triple, he's going to be a very, very tough matchup defensively heading into the playoffs.
Quarter number 2 just underway here from the Scotiabank Center. Vince Williams along with Dan Hobson and the Silver Vision crew. It's the final regular season home game here at the Scotiabank Center. The Hurricanes, after this one, going to make a little mini Ontario Central Division road trip. Visits to the Niagara River Lions as Joey Haywood hits a corner 3, and the Windsor Express. And for the Moncton Miracles, as Vince mentioned off the top, a home-and-home series with the Cape Breton Highlanders in that battle for that 4th and final playoff spot. Here is Tate now. Jonty, elbow jumper.
Jonty
Loves playing here at the Scotiabank Center and loves the Hurricane, playing against the Hurricanes. We talked about the 10 points he had the last time these two teams met. He gets his First points here this afternoon, and that will bounce up and then down for Taekwon Zimmerman for the three.
Zim off to a very good start, 3 for 3. 8 points on the afternoon. So good to see him getting his shooting stroke back after a struggle Friday night versus the Island Storm.
Lucius with the clock at 4. He's going to have to put it up soon. Fade away over Zimmerman and bucket, and a nice move.
Lucius.
And no panic there by Corey Lucius.
That was a nice fadeaway pull up there by Lucius.
6 straight games in double figures in points, hoping to make it 7 here this afternoon. Bowen with the ball inside, lots of contact, and an offensive foul as Tate hits the deck.
Yeah, a lot of contact on the ball screen as well, set by Taekwon Zimmerman.
Halifax foul.
But a
on
battle
Billy
was
White.
ensuing on the
His
backside
first
between
team
Tyrell
foul,
Tate
number 1.
and Billy White. And it looked like Billy White just pretty much hogtied and dragged down Tate, but it had to be because of the physicality and the contact. Billy trying to defend himself as he was running up the court, trying to get an explanation with the officials.
Give him 2 points there for the amateur wrestling hip toss as the ball goes out of bounds. 15-point lead, now the largest here this afternoon for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, the Miracles can't let this one get away from them.
And what's kind of interesting, Vince, is we saw the starters here, but still continuing to go with the bench here, trying to definitely give some of, of course, their starters here a rest. We mentioned Watson not playing because of injury. Playing skill's not on there, but Willie White still out there and gets a bucket. 47-30. Long from long that doesn't go. 9:28 left. One and done's once again. Nice passing.
Billy White from
Bowen to White.
Yeah, the lack of bigs for the Miracles, they're having difficulties defensively. They have no answer for CJ as he went 5 for 5 in the first 12 minutes, and now they have no answer for Billy White. Billy White is definitely beating his defender from hoop to hoop. As you can see, he's playing very aggressive with at a very high level with lots of confidence right now, and the Miracles have to find an answer defensively and to make an adjustment here.
Miracles
defending Billy White.
Called
His
for a
first
foul there
team
on
foul,
Haywood.
number 1.
It'll be his first, the first team foul here in the second quarter. So when does the panic button start kicking in for Paul McKeskey right now? You're down by 19.
Well, I'm not sure if he's got any type of panic button going on. He's just kind of observing his reserves right now, and since there's no sense of urgency to try to get back the starters into this game, that we're able to pretty much hang with the Hurricane starters and keep this game close. At one point they led this ball game, but now it's just things have went by the wayside with multiple substitutions, and I'm thinking that the strategy might allow these guys to play the string out in this particular quarter.
Oh, a defensive breakdown.
Lucius.
As Lucius driving towards the hoop, was wide open, got the pass and put it in off of the Hurricanes 24-second shot clock violation. And it makes it 49-32. Just past 3.5. Zimmerman for 3, that's short. And the weak side rebound gathered up here by Bird. He had 12 points in the previous game against the Hurricanes back in Moncton. That was on the 13th. And
Halifax foul on Anthony Cox.
Cox
His
going to
second
go up for the
team
foul.
Number 2.
8 seconds shy of the 4-minute mark. And for Cox, it'll be his second and the second team foul. And Ronaldo Dixon, one of the top defenders here on this team, will check in here for Billy White. White with a pretty good opening first half so far. Will sit on the bench here as that rolls out along the in line. Will stay with the Miracles.
Yeah, Billy the high man on the afternoon with 15 points.
So Shotty, Lucius, Wong, Bird, and Tate on the floor here for the Moncton Miracles. Shot clock at 7. Tate with the ball. 1-on-1 D against Zimmerman. Jeanty now will have to put it up. One to shoot. Short. And he was just trying to go through and maybe do a little bit too much and unable to get a good shot. Here's Haywood. Off the window and in.
Haywood.
51-32.
Yeah, just no answers defensively right now for the Miracles. Can't stop the penetration. Can't defend the bigs in the post. Just having multiple problems defensively here.
Bird looked awkward putting up that three, and it was well off the mark. Bowen for three. That tips off at Cox, and it will be Miracles basketball. A couple of their starters return. Beatty and Johnson the third.
So let's just see what type of response
DJ
here we
Washington
get
back
from the
in
Miracles
for
with their
Halley.
starters coming back.
And Washington will come back here for the Hurricanes. 7:21 left. We take a look at the bench. There is Beatty. Looks back to his coach, McKeskey, as they're going to try to set something up here. Down by 19. Lucius gonna go do it by himself. Well, nice little shimmy shake
Corey
move.
Lucius.
51-34.
Yeah, Corey Lucius is a very good looking guard. First time I had an opportunity to see him myself here at Scotiabank Center. 5'11" from Iowa State. He's been very quick to the rim, then he can finish at the rim. So that's what you want to see out of your point guard. He's been very good. He's been very good this afternoon for Coach Paul McKeskey.
You mentioned about the size, the lack of size here on this Moncton Miracle team, and
Team foul number
that's
2.
the time
Kenny
where
O'Connell
C.J.
taps
Washington
in
just
for the
used it to his
Hurricanes.
advantage
CJ
and got
hits
the
the
hoop
line,
and the harm, and
trying
now
to
the
make it a
chance
three-point
to
play.
knock down another one here from the line.
Yeah, another point in the paint. I mean, they're pretty much killing them. And I hate to use that, particular word to describe what's going on, but right now, the Hurricanes are basically destroying the Miracles inside the paint. Points in the paint, the differential 30-6. So when you have that type of analytic going up against you, things are not pretty going in the right direction, and it's an indicative in this 20-point lead.
Hurricanes with 54 points here in the game so far,
Daryl Wong.
as
for
Daryl
2.
Wong will lay it up and in. Makes it 54-36. The point I was going to say is that, sometimes the analytics that it could be another 100 points here given up here by the Miracles this afternoon.
Yeah, you can't win many ball games when you're surrendering 100 points. If you're going to surrender 100 points, you better make sure that you're averaging over 100. And that's not in the game plan right now for the Miracles. But a very nice take and finish at the rim there by Tydra and Biddy. But you can see that
Halifax
the
foul
starters
on
for
Kenny
the Miracles
O'Connell.
are very
His
good.
first.
Beatty, Johnson the third.
Team foul number 3.
Got Lucius there, put him into the mix. If you can add, Tim Mitchell in there as well, that inside presence, and we haven't seen Tim Mitchell as he's playing sparing minutes this afternoon as well. Mitchell, take a quick look at his numbers. He was 2 for 2 for the field. Played just under 8 minutes, and you got Malik Story knocking down shots. So starting 5, they're very good. Now what's gonna, what the difference in the separation is the reserves. And no disrespect to the Moncton Miracles, but the reserves just haven't played up to the same level as the Hurricanes reserves this season.
Yep, so we have timeout called here by the Halifax Hurricanes in a 54-38 basketball game here from the Scotiabank Center. As you see them do some t-shirt tosses here. Just to remind everybody that playoff action, of course, will be getting underway. This being the final week of the regular season. And you can actually get your playoff tickets by going to halifaxhurricanes.ca to find out information. And it is a full house here this afternoon. The only game in town here in Halifax is the NBL, and a lot of fans have showed up here this afternoon. The final home game of the regular season. The Hurricanes, well, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, will be heading on a 2-game road trip this week to take on the Niagara River Lions on April 26th, and then Windsor Express on April 28th. It'll be interesting, the game strategy there for Mike Leslie and this Hurricane team.
Well,
You
it's
don't really want to, have some injuries playing a lot of players, but
Well,
you also want to keep things going. If you're hot, you're hot.
Sure, absolutely. You want to make sure that the consistent play is there. and we touched on it several times, and I'm going to continue to touch on it. The most important thing that they need to be, focusing on and making sure that they are paying close attention to detail is the defensive thing. The defensive
While we
side
wait for the
of things.
lights to
We're
come
gonna
back
have a little
on,
bit
the
of delay
Halifax
here.
Hurricanes
Yeah,
want to do a
secondary
special
lights will
shout out
come
to
up
Mark
here,
and
wait for them
Sarah
to
from
come
the
back
Chronicle
up.
Herald
So if they
for their
can
new
be
venture Salt Wire,
consistent,
picking off all those
and I would,
trans-con papers,
mimic
keeping
and
journalism
try to echo
here,
the
loud and
sentiments of
proud,
the head coach,
headquartered
Mike
right in
Leslie.
Halifax.
Things
That's awesome,
and
Chronicle
championships
Herald.
are
Thanks
won,
for your
excuse me,
investment.
on the defensive side. They need to find a way to be more consistent.
The Halifax
more
Hurricanes
responsible
summer basketball
defensively
camps are in the works. Watch
throughout the ball game. We're talking the
HalifaxHurricanes.ca
full
for
48
more
minutes of great
information.
defensive responsibility. When I say defensive responsibility, I'm saying contain, contest, and block out, and that's rebounding. Because they win ball games down the stretch. If you're able to contain and make sure that they man the paint and don't allow teams to be able to break down their individual defense and get into the painted area and cause problems with matchups where guys are getting opportunities at shots at the goal or the double team is coming.
We'll just
late
be
on
a
the
few
back, the
minutes.
help
You
defense
guys
is
talk
coming late on
quietly
the
amongst
backside,
yourselves.
And then we're getting easy
Okay, don't be
opportunities
quiet.
on two-on-ones,
Talk
on ball
loudly
screens.
amongst yourselves.
Contest the shooters, making sure that they're paying close detail to their other team's best shooters, closing out on them, making it tough, making it difficult, because there are going to be times throughout the game where the other team's going to make shots.
Worst case
But how you
scenario,
handle
if you all
it,
take
how
out
you
your
make adjustments
iPhones and kind of
throughout the
turn on
game
the
and
flashlight
contest
function,
those
it'll
shots
probably work
is
just
going to be the
fine.
focal point
So, we'll keep
in
that
the
one.
area
We'll
where
keep
they're
that one
gonna
in our
either be
back pockets.
successful or they're not
Get
gonna
your
be successful.
iPhones
And last
ready,
but
just
not
in
least-
case.
But not least is blocking out and rebounding. The rebounding defensively is going to be very key. Second and third chance opportunities have hurt them when they were not playing well. When they lost ball games here at Scotiabank Center and lost ball games on the road, it's been those second chance opportunities and the rebounding. Right now, they've been an outstanding job thus far in this ball game. You take a quick look at the statistics. They're out rebounding the Miracles at a clip that I would say, I don't know the official stats, but the stats I got here in my hand, about 17-6. So 2-1, almost 2-1, basically in every category. Assist-wise, 13-4. And then we talked about points in the paint. We're talking about 30-plus points to just under 10 points, and that's unexcusable. And you talked about it several times, where the Miracles like to shoot the three ball. Okay, all right, I understand that. That's their game. That's their bread and butter. That's the reason why they've been successful winning ball games. But there comes a time, especially in the playoffs, when those three balls dry up, they got to go to a secondary offense. And that secondary offense has to be able to put the ball in the painted area, getting points, driving towards the basket, and trying to, generate offense that way. That has to be a point of emphasis. They need to find a way to do that. And they got, a few more ball games to figure it out. If they can't figure it out, in particularly head-to-head with the Cape Breton Highlanders, they're not going to be in that fourth position. And the Highlanders are going to be here for Game 1 of the Atlantic Division playoffs.
I'm not sure if our Silver Vision crew cameras are catching it, but now you see it right there that some of the fans decide to turn their flashlights on here with their phones, and they're almost like turning it into... I don't know if you've ever watched WWE too much, Vince, but there's a character by the name of Bray Wyatt, and what they do is they turn their lights on. And
Look at
it's
a
like,
dance contest going on right now. This is kind of eerie because you know what? It kind of looks like we're at Madison Square Garden, or there's games being played at the Staples Centers when the Lakers play, because they usually turn down the house lights in the stands, and then the only lights that you can really see are the spotlights on the court. So this is a pretty cool look right now. I'm not sure if this is what they're going for, but it's definitely the look to all those basketball fans out there.
It almost looks like UFC sort of lighting.
Yeah, well, there's not enough. It doesn't look like there's enough lighting on the court itself to play this game in a safe environment, and I think that's been a discussion between Coach Mike Leslie and Coach McKeskey and the crew chief there, Matt Boyle. So it looks like we're going to continue on here. So we are going to get a little bit of flavor here of either Madison Square Garden or Staples Center for a Knick game or a Laker game. which is pretty cool. I actually had a suggestion to do it because I like this type of environment. I mean, the spotlight is basically on the players. It's on the court. Not
Get
so
out
much
your
on the
night vision
fans.
goggles,
We want
folks. We're
the
playing in the
environment
dark at
and
the
the fans are
line.
important
Shooting two,
to
shooting a
the
single.
game, but I like this kind of look, Dan. What's your take on it?
Well, as we see Beatty hit that, you got to wonder if he'd be able to see anything because
it is kind of dark.
It is
down
dark
one end.
there, like you look at it. So you got to wonder if this is going to change in terms of depth perception. So
I'm not sure if somebody fell asleep at the switch or the switch is broken, but nevertheless, we're continuing on here.
So you'll probably take a look here as we take a look at that outside three that doesn't go. You can see that things are not as bright on the screen, so please do not adjust your screen at home on your or whatever device you're watching. Ochieno out here getting some playing time. He had that season high 8 points in the last game here, which was Wednesday night against the Cape Breton Highlanders, and Matt Boyle has called a foul, and it is going against Ochieno.
Hurricane foul on number 5.
Tell you
Kenny
one thing,
Ochieno, his second.
the white
Team
jerseys
foul,
really stick
number
out.
4.
Oh, yeah, well, you can see them up on the big screen there.
BT at
They
the
really
line.
stick out.
Shooting 2.
But to be perfectly honest here, from our vantage point, from our broadcast area, some of those shorts of the Miracles are not that white. No disrespect to them, but you can see that there's a little bit of tinge on some of those white shorts. That could be, a case of, those shorts definitely look like they've been used on the road on their Central Division swing. As we mentioned it several times, not much time to rest for the Miracles. Getting in at 7 a.m. this morning, only having 6 hours of rest and before they have to come down Trans-Canada Highway here to play this game this afternoon.
Haywood with the long two. And a rejection there by the Hurricanes, and they'll put on the Jets. Zimmerman for three, yes. Not affecting the players here so far.
That's not affecting the players at
Zimmerman
all,
is
especially
just
from long
shooting
distance.
lights out.
As Zimmerman,
it?
as you can hear Chris Lyon on the public address
was
announcing
funny.
that they're shooting the lights out, and Zimmerman is. It's been a very good afternoon for Taquan Zimmerman. As I mentioned, he had a very tough night on Friday night versus the Island Storm, was held scoreless. You can see that there's a sense of urgency in his game to be good this afternoon.
Washington step back, can't hit. And Johnson there, strong side rebound, gathers it up, swings it over to Lucius. Corner three here for Bird, yes sir. Wide
Russell
open
Bird
look,
for 3.
and Bird drains it.
Yeah, you can't allow Russell Bird a standstill three. And the light didn't affect his shooting stroke on that attempt. So he knocks down his first triple on the afternoon.
Catch and shoot makes it a 16-point game, 60-44. 4:07 left. Zimmerman in the corner. Ochieno unable to hit. But a
Third time's a
opportunity
charm.
there by
Ronaldo
Dixon.
Dixon.
Yeah, the size showing up on that possession is Dixon and CJ keeping it alive there.
Bird once again, that one well off. And Washington rebound. Hands it off to Haywood. He gets across the timeline. 3:42 left. Zimmerman for three. That's short. And gathering it is Wong. Once again over to Lucius. Lucius pretty well going to be sort of what the Clink Scales version is. Handling the ball, starting things here. Beatty now had an open lane and lays it up as the D got there, but not
Tigran
in
Beatty.
time. And now they've closed it to a 15-point game. The largest lead has been 20. And it's a 15-point lead, 61-46, 3:13 left.
Well, I can tell you what, this Miracle team is not going to give up. They're going to continue the battle. And right now, it looks like they got an all-guard lineup out there. It doesn't look like there is particularly a big out there. It's just Daryl Wong has to play the 5 position. Tadron Beatty pretty much relegated to
Moncton
the power
foul
forward
on
position.
Melvin Johnson. His
I mentioned
second
that.
team foul, number 3.
Johnson the third will
Tim
get his
Mitchell
second,
and
and
Malik
now
Story
Haywood will shoot
check back
three here
him
from
for the
stripe.
Miracles.
Keski goes to a more conventional lineup as
Joey
Tim Mitchell
Haywood
checks
hits the
back in and
line.
Malik Story checks back in. So they're going back to their original starting lineup.
80.7% from the stripe this season is Haywood as he sinks the first. And that makes it 62-46. Boy, I'd be interested to talk to some of the players about, like, after this one's over, playing in the I don't even know what you even call it. You would call it like the
Well, it's
Staples Centers type thing.
Oh yeah, well the LA Lakers play the same type of scenario. Like if anybody out there has actually watched a Laker game, and I'm pretty sure you can't miss a Laker game, especially in their heyday. Kobe Bryant
Timeout, Moncton.
winning championships there, and even when latter
And Mike
stages of his
Poole
career, and
checks
even
back
now.
in.
This is the environment at the Staples Center for Laker games. And I do believe it's the same environment for Madison Square Garden for Knick games as well, where the spotlight is on the court itself. The house lights in the stands are down to a minimum where you basically can't really see anybody unless they're in the front row. So the focus of the sport and the focus of the game, with the environment that you come when you come to the arena, is the basketball court. Now, I think it would make it a little dicey for the ushers and security if things got out of hand in the stands, as you know, there's minimal light. But it's one of those things that those particular franchise do for their home games. And I think it's pretty cool. When I watch those games, I'm like, yeah, man, I'd like to see that here at the National Basketball League of Canada. And right now, we kind of got it. It's either somebody, like I mentioned, fell asleep at the switch, or the switch broke. But nonetheless, we got that type of environment.
Well, what makes it like the center court is fine because you got
Yes.
the light from the screen above, but you just look into that corner and
So Hurricane fans, we are going to finish off the second quarter and, of course,
Yeah, it's a
get
little
back to
damn
regular
extra,
basketball
so
in
if
the
they
third
can
and
get the
fourth.
lights angled, it's
just
fine,
so none
but
of you
it's
leave
just-
your seats, end up in the bathroom
And
and get
that,
a
like,
surprise.
that three that are down there
as
close
soon
to the
as
Hurricanes
second
bench
quarter
is,
is finished, we
a
have
little
to
bit of a
turn out
worrisome
all
spot
of the
there for
house
me, but
lights.
everything else
So the
seems to
Metro
be
Center
okay.
will be
Well,
completely
don't tell
dark
that to Russell
except for
Bird, 'cause he
emergency
was able to
lighting
knock down a
for
three in
just
the
a few
corner.
seconds
He had
while
no
we
problem
reboot
seeing
the
the light.
system.
As well as
So keep
Daquan
a
Zero
handle
was
on
able
your
to knock
kids.
one down.
Keep a handle on your purses, because
45-degree
that guy
angle
sitting next to you
from
looks
distance
a little
as well,
shady.
See if Johnson,
But
they set
nonetheless,
Johnson up here for this corner
Just
one.
be
but-
ready for the lights to turn
Lucius
off
will do
at
it. Oh.
halftime.
And it sounds like what they're going to do is reset everything, so I don't know if you're scared of the dark. I'm going to go underneath the table when they go do that.
Yeah, that's
And
probably
you
going
can
to
just
try
come
to.
and get me when they're fully lit.
Well, you'll have 15 minutes because I'm pretty sure they're going to do it at halftime.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're going to do it at halftime. As Washington hits from the corner.
CJ
CJ is definitely
Washington.
playing at a very high level this afternoon, knocking down jump shots.
BD, nice move and in.
Tydron
Yeah,
Beatty
Tydron
for
Beatty is a
two.
very good-looking offensive player. He's been very consistent in it, and has been very good this season for the Miracles. You can see he can definitely finish at the rim.
2 to go here till halftime. Shot clock at 9, picked off there by Lucius at the right spot. Hands it off. Beatty was thinking about a slam and then
Yeah.
put the brakes on it, tried to lay it up, but didn't get anything.
He got faked out there by Otieno.
Otieno, but he took too many steps.
Yeah, unlucky there for Otieno. He had a wide open layup, but it looks like Tydron Beatty's coming up a little bit lame with that left
Halifax
ankle.
foul on
As you
Ronaldo
mentioned,
Dixon.
Unable to finish with that finger
His
roll,
first
but I
team
think it
foul,
was the
number
defensive
5.
play there by Otieno as he pulled the chair on him, and Otieno looked like he was going to set up and take the charge, but at the very last moment he got out of the way, and an indecision there by Tydron Beatty, and it looks like he might have tweaked his left ankle.
Just a correction on the previous play was the offensive foul to Dixon.
Okay.
It will be his first. So
Because it didn't
the
really look
bucket-
like Otieno traveled, it just looked like he had a lot of space getting there.
Yeah. .127 left to go. Stories of the original starters, with the exception of Bird, back out here for the Miracles. And now they'll step on the end line. The clock was winding down. They had 5 to shoot. Stepped on the end line and turned it over to the Hurricanes, and they'll quickly come back up the floor.
Wow, a lot of contact on that drive there on Mike Poole as he hit the deck looking for a foul. Definitely looked like he got either hit in the head or hit in the arm.
You can see there that Todd McLeod and Matt Boyle getting together.
Yeah,
Or McGinnis, pardon me. Todd McGinnis, pardon me.
Yeah, Mike Poole not happy at all in that last sequence.
So 1:16 left to go here till the half, 18 to shoot. Miracles have 3 fouls to give here.
Coach Mike Leslie wants to talk things over
Timeout Halifax.
as he calls a timeout.
Locked in a contract.
Once again, we'll give everybody a chance. Just another reminder about the playoff tickets
We'll bail
coming
you
up.
out. Break free with
Round, and
Eastland.
we'll be
Switch today and we'll buy out your current cell contract. Surprisingly simple wireless. Only from Eastland.
Islanders will have to wait and find out. That big home and home series between the Miracles and the Highlanders that's coming up this week. The game Wednesday will be in Moncton, and the game Friday will be in Cape Breton. So it's definitely going to be a doozy. Of course, you can watch those online as well, so that should be a good finish. But just to finish up on the playoff tickets here, go to halifaxhurricanes.ca to get yours so you can come out here to the Scotiabank Center and enjoy some first round basketball action.
Yeah, we'll definitely know for sure that there will be playoff basketball here at Scotiabank Center. There'll be no guessing game as the Hurricanes were able to lock up the Atlantic Division in their previous home game, as they were able to shore up first overall in the Atlantic Division. Still no chance of chasing down the London Lightning, as the Lightning will go into the playoffs as the #1 overall team from the Central Division throughout the playoffs.
And we saw how crucial that was, like last year. It ended up coming to a game 7, and it was here, and the Hurricanes came away with the win. So
yeah, very important. Teams love to have home court advantage in a 7-game series, or any type of 5-game or a 7-game series in any sport is very pivotal, especially in a long series when you have 2 evenly matched teams. That 7th and deciding game comes down to the team with the home court advantage usually.
Washington with the ball. As everyone was thinking about popping. There's Washington from outside, and that don't hit. That will be the Miracles that will bring it up. Here's Bird now. Catch and shoot for 3. Yes, sir.
Russell Bird.
I think he really likes that catch and shoot.
Yeah, Russell
rather than have to do a dribble.
Russell's having no problem seeing the basket from that position in this type of lightning environment, as he's 2 for 2 knocking down that 3 ball.
You see 46 seconds left to go. Still 3 fouls to give here for the Moncton Miracles. Dixon.
Ronaldo Dixon.
Spins, shoots, and scores. 68-51. Bird once again. Maybe a little bit of a heat check, as my Parker would say.
Oh, yeah.
But didn't hit that time.
Yeah, eyes are well adjusted from that distance in that particular spot on the floor.
5 seconds difference between the game clock and the shot clock. And as I mentioned previously, 3 fouls to give as Poole over Lucius with the deep 2. The shot clock will be shut off. And for the Hurricanes, they actually steal the ball. And now they tried to pass it. Well, they're going to run out of time here before they can put a shot up. Lucius
at the half, the
ended up coming with the ball, but not much time to do anything. As he ran down the court, the horn goes to end the first half.
And a
Here
reminder that we're going to have a brief lights out.
Dark
So hang
Scotiabank
on,
Center.
In
And it's going to get darker too, because they're going to power everything down.
In some parts of the arena, it's very dark. Court, we got a little bit of light.
Yeah.
Spotlight basketball this
Yeah.
afternoon between these 2 teams.
And the referee's doing maybe seeing the shadows on the floor. So, all silliness aside here, we're going to take a breather. This one's going to be a little bit longer because they're going to put an extra 3 minutes on here. So, just want to give all our viewers attention that if they need to, maybe run to the grocery store or run down, get a pizza or something, you got an extra 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
18-minute break, 70-51, and we'll be back with third quarter action here from the Scotiabank Center. You're watching NBL Canada on YouTube.
mean, they're the best as well.
Third quarter of basketball, Halifax fans. Thanks again for your patience.
So,
I hope your eyes have adjusted to the
that's
light.
the reason why they're up, by this particular deficit.
So they've got it pretty well, got their lunch pail hard hat on. They've got to try to scrap and get back into this here as we're back here at Scotiabank Center. That would be a good start there for Tydran Beatty as he'll hit from the wing there. Elbow makes it 70 to 53.
Yeah, and Beatty had a pretty good first 24 minutes, 9 points. Him and Malik Story, the top scorers for the Miracles, and Beatty with 11 now, so a good start for the Miracles if they're going to try to get back into this.
And pretty well stopped the Hurricanes now. Beatty back-to-back buckets.
There you go. So a good response here right off the start in this third quarter for the Miracles.
The original starters back out on the floor here, with the exception of Poole. They've actually got Mason instead of Poole for the Hurricanes. There is Billy White. Double figures of points here this afternoon as Mason's too strong. Poole's actually out there, pardon me, so that's a my bad as Poole now hits the outside three. Calm, cool, and hits the outside tray.
And that's been one of the storylines this afternoon as well, second chance opportunities. That's 13 points off of second chance opportunities thus far for the Hurricanes this afternoon.
Story now will swing it down low, backhand Johnson on Mason. Lots of contact. Manny States right on along the in line, calls a foul. And it's going against Mason.
Halifax foul on Mason.
Mismatch
his
there.
First team foul,
the big
number
man,
1.
Tim Mitchell on a big on guard screen as Mason got caught in between defenders there trying to guard the big man, number 33.
Mason, that's his
Mitchell.
first. Lucius now right along the elbow inside to Mitchell, who lays it up and in.
Soft touch by the big man, 6'9", center from Southeastern University. I like Tim Mitchell's game. I think he should get a lot more touches.
6-3 run here for the Miracles. Washington going down on the play. Beatty not happy about the call. Has a little bit of a words there for the official. Todd McGinnis right along the inline.
Both of them are a little bit bewildered there. Tim Mitchell had a look of shock of bewilderment, trying to think why was the contact called. It looked like CJ initiated the contact, but a good job of moving without the basketball CJ was, and they go to the line to shoot too.
Washington, as we mentioned, he had a outstanding game against the Island Storm in a losing cause. Had 28 points. I mentioned 22 points the last time these teams have met. And that was back on April 13th. And that was the lone win that the Miracles have gotten this season. I was back at the Moncton Coliseum. 73 to 57 as Washington can't hit that one. Now we're coming to the 2-minute mark, and a little bit of a flat third quarter here so far for the Hurricanes. Moncton using the extra time, and this is the thing. Sometimes, athletes are a creature of habit. They're used to 15-minute intermissions. They had 18 because David Miles was performing here, and they unable to hit that time with the Miracles, and the Hurricanes off to the races and a blocking foul. As Mason seems to be okay, but he hit the floor hard as he ran into Malik Story, and Malik Story's going to be called for the foul.
Moncton foul on Malik Story.
His first, the second team foul here in the third quarter. 9:45 left. Mason was wide open and decided not to. Sends it over the corner to Poole to shoot the three, and that's no good. And back comes Johnson the third there. Oh, but he loses the handle. 2-on-1, making a 3-on-1 and fouled there. Beatty getting back and
Miracles
get
foul
back there in
on
time to
Tydran
deny the
Beatty.
shot. No, it was going to be in the act of
His
shooting. So
third
it's two
team
free
foul
throws
number
coming up
3,
here for Mason.
Antoine Mason at the line shooting the deuce.
And the Hurricanes off to a slow start, as you mentioned. Shooting a blistering 67% from the field in the first 24 minutes. 64% from the field in the first 24 minutes. I'd say that's probably definitely tops this season after 24 minutes shooting that particular percentage, but a little bit of a lull here to start the third quarter as the Miracles responding offensively, still having problems with the run-out defense in transition though.
Mitchell and Washington had their hands on each other there momentarily. In the meantime, Johnson the third in the paint. Back out, Beatty now driving, finds a lane, bucket.
Tydron Beatty.
Tydron Beatty continued to be very good this afternoon offensively. He's definitely been a problem on the dribble drive in that painted area. We touched on it several times on containing it.
He's having difficulty against White. White was able to get a shot, and White looking for contact, none forthcoming. The law firm of States Boyle McGinnis says play on, boys. 8:40 left. A little bit of an awkward shot there by Mitchell. There's numbers back the other way as Mitchell's just getting to his feet right now. Poole lays it up and in.
From Clinkscale.
It's 77 to 59, 8:27 left. Bounce pass, and all of a sudden both teams are going up and down. Not really pretty in terms of defense as Johnson had all kinds of time and space.
Too easy of an opportunity in transition, and that's back-to-back dribble drives and finishing at the rim by the Miracles' top players in Johnson the third, Tydron Beatty.
Short, and now Miracles turn on the Jets. Story, and one.
Basket counts for Story.
And that's 3 straight possessions.
Hurricane foul.
Easy dribble drive, no contest.
His second team foul.
And Story's able to finish through the contact with the left hand.
A heck of a 4 minutes here for the Miracles. They've brought it down to 14. Now they have a chance to bring it down to 13, and they do on the 3-point completion there by Story.
Definitely making it look easy here in this third quarter. Attacking the rim, the Miracles are. Non-contested shots defensively.
Corey Lucius not too happy with the Bryan State's calls. He's fingered there for the foul.
His second team foul, number 4.
That's the 4th team foul. So free throws could be early here in this third quarter here. Mokeski not too happy. Our microphones might have been able to hear it at court level. White backs in, 9 with an elbow, and bucket. Still looking for a little bit of calls. He looks up at Matt Boyle with a shoulder shrug. Get the bucket to go, makes it 79 to 64. There's Johnson. Off the window and in.
Mitchell.
79 to 66. Just past the 4.5-minute mark here at the Scotiabank Center. Dan Hobson alongside Vince Williams. Final home game of the regular season here for the Hurricanes. Nice passing picked up. And the foul there by Poole, and that was pretty well no man's land as he had to do that one.
Hurricane foul on Mike Poole. His third team foul, number 3.
79 to 66 with 7:10 left here in the third. Screen set there by Mitchell. Stopping and popping is Beatty, bucket.
Tydron Beatty for 2.
Yeah, he's got it going. He's definitely got it going offensively this afternoon. One of the bright stars for the Miracles, keeping this one close, and he's got a very good third quarter going as well.
White driving, he had a little bit of a, well, he had an extra step there, and Mitchell had no choice but to foul them along the inline there. He almost blew by
Tim Mitchell.
And Mitchell didn't have a choice. He's going to be
team foul,
called
number
for the
5.
foul. It'll be his second, and just like that, we haven't even reached the halfway point here of the third quarter. The 5th team foul. Mason bounce pass, and that had a lot of mustard on it, and Hurricanes unable to come up with the rock, turning it over.
Yeah, Coach Leslie wants to talk things over here, making adjustments. Only 9 points thus far for the Hurricanes in this quarter as the Miracles responding. Good to see the pushback and the fight from the Miracles as, like I said, they got a very good start in 5. No doubt about it. Where things drop off in productivity offensively comes in their reserves. But this third quarter, they've done an outstanding job of distributing the basketball, playing unselfish basketball, and getting their best players involved offensively. And in particular, Tadron Beatty's been very aggressive offensively in this third quarter. Able to knock down shots from the mid-range game and able to get to the basket with ease and finishing at the rim through contact. So adjustments, major adjustments defensively have to be made by the Hurricanes. Hurricanes, like I mentioned at the start of this third quarter, the best in the league, holding teams under 100 points at 99.5 a clip. Rebound-wise, they've been really good as well in total rebounds and rebounds per game percentages. So they need to continue to do those things if they're going to get, be successful in this particular game, because it's not, like you said, it's a lot of basketball left. So taking a look at what's going on here, what's distracting me is the one-on-one matchup between Swish and the Olympian gymnast, Ellie Black. Swish is taking back to the rim. Swish is not even, he's saying, no, you know what? You're a celebrity somewhat. I'm not letting up. I'm not getting embarrassed, even though we don't even know who's wearing that uniform.
Are you saying you don't know who Swish is?
I have no idea. You're
you
not
have no
supposed
idea
to.
who Swish
For those
is?
kids out there.
He's the guy in the blue suit.
Exactly. For those kids out there, we don't know who exactly Swish is, but we know is the alter ego that he plays is the mascot for the Hurricanes. It's good sportsmanship between Ellie Black, the Canadian Olympic gymnast, and Swish there. But just getting back to the ball game, Coach Leslie's definitely not happy at this point. Only 9 points, and allowing the Miracles to get back into this game and cut this deficit that looked like, it was pretty much over, up as much as 22 points. Now we got a ball game here in the third with lots of basketball left.
Johnson unable to hit. There's Mitchell with the board at a new 24. And he doesn't use much of that clock as he puts it back. And now we got a delay game against Moncton. So now both teams have delayed game warnings. The Hurricanes had one earlier in that first half, and now Moncton called for that.
Anthony Cox taps in.
79-70. They've brought it down to single digits. And all of a sudden, this Scotiabank crowd, which had lots to cheer about, or maybe just a little bit more quiet than what they were minutes ago. Mason swings along the wing to White. Backs in on Mitchell. Tough take, contact, and three throws coming up here. As Mitchell's caught for the foul. Once again, that tough one-on-one contest between Mitchell and White.
Foul, number 6.
White pretty well winning the battle on the boards here today.
Shooting 2.
5:58 left in a 9-point game. White to the line. And as we mentioned, White 77% in the season from the strike. Hits that one, makes it a 10-point game, 80-70. And hits both of those, and this is something that they want to improve on, is their free throw shooting. We mentioned earlier, they come in the league 7th. Here is Beatty, and he can't get that one to go. Gets a second chance, and that one don't float either. White with the rebound. 5:40 left. Here is White. Playing scales now with the clock at 14. Substitutions coming up here for both teams. Get those on the next whistle. Cox has the ball. Elbow jumper. Yes, sir. Cox finds the score sheet, Mitch.
That's a very nice stroke there by Anthony Cox. Caught it in rhythm, was able to knock it down. As the battle underneath the basket, though, between him and Tim Mitchell. It looks like a double foul on both of them. They got into a shoving match.
Hurricane
but it looks like it wasn't a double. It's going to go
his third
against
team foul,
Anthony
number 4,
Cox.
Taquan Zimmerman.
Not happy,
in for the
staring down
Hurricanes,
Maine States
in
right
for the
now.
Miracles, Cordell.
Is Anthony Cox.
Gentil.
Gentil comes back in, as well as Zimmerman for the Hurricanes. Deep three by Johnson, well out.
Wow.
Melvin Johnson.
Outstanding jump shooter. That
for
guy
3.
is a lethal shooter from that distance, and he just showed you why. He's amongst the league leaders in that particular category. Johnson III banging down a shot from way out.
Here's Zimmerman. He's known to shoot the threes as well. Clock at 6, gets the return pass. No, too strong. And Clegg Scales will come up with it, and a new 24 here for the Hurricanes with 4:40 left.
Second chance points.
White can't go. Shotzi with the call.
Second chance points have been killing the Miracles this afternoon.
Miracles foul on Cordell.
The trend continuing.
His first.
Coach McKesky
Bonus
not
in
happy,
effect.
looking for
Billy
an
White at the
explanation.
line, shooting 2.
Not so much an explanation, but more of a riveting. Asking for
Crew Chief Matt Boyle, he's having a tough one because he's got McKesky in one ear and Jotty talking with the others.
Yeah, look at him. Not so much an explanation, more so much for fairness, is Coach McKesky. As much as we can hear.
7th team foul now, so it's 3 throws the rest of the way as White sinks that one. Was a really big lead. It's now down to 12, and it's still good for the Hurricanes, but I'll tell you, with this the 3-point shooting that these Moncton Miracles have, they could
they're never out of a game.
They're never out of a game. That's exactly it. Beatty loses the handle there. Shot clock at 3, puts it up and short. And a rebound gathered here by White. They had numbers the other way. They just keep it alive, but they put it right in the hands of Jotty. Gets it up to Lucius here. They got numbers. Johnson, no. And weak side rebound gathered here by White.
Wow, Hurricanes dodge a bullet there. Standstill 3 for Johnson. Usually knocks that one down in transition.
3:50 left. There's an entry pass. White takes it strong, but unable to get a good shot. And he holds Jotty.
I think Billy made the foul just so he can have a conversation with the official on why he didn't get the foul call underneath the basket in that battle
Second
between
personal
him
foul
and
on
Jotty.
Billy White. 15
I've never
foul.
been a basketball official. I'll never sign up to be a basketball official, but I could probably make that call, as that was really easy to call. As he, well, so what, you being
Actually,
a football, you being a football official, you could have called that one too for holding there.
Yeah, but and actually that was a pretty good foul because they did have numbers coming back the other way, the Miracles did.
Mike Scales puts the Jets on and loses his footing, but gets the bucket. A tough take there by the team captain as you take a look at him defending now in an 87-73 game with 3:10 left here in the third. Bird, who had a couple of good threes there in the first half. Story, that almost goes, but he'll have a chance to knock them down here from the line.
Yeah, not enough spacing and help on that ball screen.
On Zimmerman.
Taquan Zimmerman was
His
actually in the trail position.
Foul, number 6,
coming off
Aaron
of that ball
Bowen
screen.
taps
Story
in.
definitely had the advantage there.
Malik Story at the
Probably would
line,
have been a little bit
shooting
better
2.
if Billy was able to hedge out and cut Story off from making his way towards the basket. See, these are the type of things that need to be cleaned up and addressed. The individual defensive responsibilities and the help responsibilities, in particular on the ball screens, and that's one of the things that they've been working on all season long.
Terrell Tate in from
And
Moncton.
at some points they've been very good all season, but some points you can see there's a little bit of a low. The better dribble drive teams, the better ball screen teams, sometimes throughout the ball game get the betterment of the Hurricane defense.
Alley-oop attempt there doesn't succeed. Bowen has returned here for the Hurricanes, as well as Tate here for the Moncton Miracles. Johnson the third. And one.
Good dribble drive
Basket
there by
counts for
Johnson the
Melvin
third as he
Johnson.
was able to hesitate.
And just
Referees
like this,
Foul on
Zimmerman there real quick there.
His
Go ahead.
second.
I was just going to say, just
Bonus
like
in
this,
effect.
they
Johnson at the
get this
line,
one down,
shooting
sink this
a
free
single.
throw down to single digits.
Absolutely.
A better third quarter for them.
Tough situation defensively there for Taquan Zimmerman as he was trying to fight through 3 screens there, actually, 2 screens. Johnson the third did a good job with the hesitation with the dribble. Was able to hit the blow by and one.
Bowen sends it in the corner, now gets a return pass. Bowen shooting 33% against these Moncton Miracles in 2 games. Anthony Cox, and once again, with a little bit of the old Budweiser what's up tongue after that one, makes it 89-78. Here's Johnson. Entry pass, Shanti, held there by White. A little bit of a delayed call. There's going to be 3 throws coming up here for the Southern Illinois product. 6'6" forward.
His third.
One of the vets here in the NBL.
Shooting 2, Cordell Gentil.
Gentil, one of the most popular players, if he pretty well has friends in every arena that he goes to. Came over and had a conversation with you before the game time too.
Oh yeah, definitely a guy. And he will probably tell you, he's got a love-hate relationship with pretty much every opposing team's building. They know his name, and some fans like to rev him and hackle him, but he's a
Cox one hand.
That was an outstanding finish there by Cox, but Gentil didn't have position there. As you can see, he didn't get back in defense as Cox was able to put that one-handed hammer down.
Johnson now, less than 2 to go. Oh, and a nice shot.
Melvin Johnson.
He looks at Clegg Scales afterwards. He takes the shot, 91-82.
Well, where Beatty left off,
that pass
Johnson's
picked up.
Johnson's picked up the slack offensively for the Miracles.
Bird wide open 3. No, it's short.
That.
It's tapped there by Tate. Story has a chance, and you can't get that one to go. Back-to-back 3 misses here. And the team captain says, let's slow things down on a Sunday afternoon from the Scotiabank Center with 1:14 left.
Things starting to get a little sloppy in the defensive rebounding. Second chance and third chance opportunity on that last trip down for the Miracles.
White allowed to back in on Bird. And he gets the hoop and the arm.
Yeah, let's get back to fundamental basketball, getting it inside to Billy. Let Billy go to work there on Gentil.
Miracles foul on number 55, Russell Bird.
I'm not sure what's going on right now, but it looks like a
Billy White hits the line, shooting a single
between Billy and
Haywood.
Johnson the third. Billy's all fired up though in this third quarter. He's had several conversations with the officials. Now he's had a conversation with Johnson the third. So
65 seconds left to go, 94-82 in the third. Here is Tate along with Bird. Kearney here, seeing some minutes here in the dying stages. Saw a little bit of him here in the first. Step back jumper by Johnson, yes.
Melvin
going away from the bucket, but it worked out well for him.
Man, he is going to work in the second half of this third quarter. No answer defensively right now for Johnson the third.
Bowen back to Zimmerman. Should tend to shoot. Screen set up. He's going to drive right along the inline. Hands it to Cox. Trying to go for the one-handed slam, but he's fouled. And I have a chance to go to the free throw line. Kearney with the foul.
Outstanding job on Brendan Kearney.
Using that
his third
ball screen by Taquan Zimmerman as he was able to blow by the slower man, Gentil. Good pocket pass in traffic to Anthony Cox. Cox tried to throw down that one-handed hammer.
58.7% from the free throw line this season. Cox, 44 of 75.
And I'm not sure what's going on here, but every time somebody steps through the free throw line, Johnson the third is either having a conversation of trying to get into the shooter's head or confidence-wise, but him and Cox had an exchange of words just like Billy did on the last time Billy went to the free throw line. So maybe it's just a ritual of Johnson the third's.
Our cameras can't catch it, but Mike Leslie having a conversation with Todd McGinnis. 20 seconds left to go. 1 second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. As the defense chant rings out here at the Scotiabank Center. Tate guarded by Haywood now. Lost the handle momentarily. Shot clock at 2. Game clock as the horde goes. Actually, Shanti had a chance with the shot there.
Yeah, it looked like he traveled, though.
Now the three will get together here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the confusion is, but it looked like Gentil just stopped playing as he had the offensive rebound, had an opportunity to put the ball right back up, but it looks like they're giving him another second on the game clock here. Now, I'm not sure why. The shot. The ball did hit the rim.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. The ball hit the rim, but I mean, the game clock and the shot clock, I think there might have been a second or two
1 second,
in the differential. And I think that, was it the game clock that might have expired?
So about that,
I think it was a game.
there's 1
or was it
second
the
left
shot clock
in
that
the
expired,
third.
and that's the reason why there was a stoppage of play. But nevertheless, I think the interpretation here is that the game clock stopped the stop of the play, but I don't know. We're just sitting
Cardi
over
had a
here.
chance to put it up. Shanti,
That should count.
no. They're waving it
No
off.
basket.
McKeskey just right all over
if we-
Matt Boyle.
I don't know if we can get a look at the replay here. I think Gentil might have a case. I think he might have gotten it off in time, but I don't think we're going to get a replay coming.
McKeskey's almost making his way over to the far side court.
And that's a long walk for that big man. But I think he's got his point across. But a good third quarter.
The winning number
And
of today's
response by the
50-50
Miracles is
draw
they're able to
is 4,
get
5,
this
9,
lead down
6, 1,
to 12
2.
points.
If you have the winning ticket, you've got 10 minutes to bring it to the merchandise outlet on
96
the
to
arena
84.
floor. Or we're going to have to draw another number. That winning ticket again is 4,
Now you've
5,
got
9,
interesting
6,
strategies here
1,
because
2.
as we say, the Hurricanes pretty well, they're not going anywhere. They're going to finish fourth. They're going to host the first round, but Moncton, they're in for a fight. So, I mean, do you still bring back the starters there for the fourth? Do you maybe go to reserves and try to prevent injuries? You know, this is the interesting, you know, I'm sure that they would just like to get these last, 2 to 3 games and just wipe them off the slate. Let's start the playoffs fresh.
Well, it all depends on, what type of strategy you're looking for here as a Coach Mike Leslie and the Hurricanes. Are you just going to play the string out here? But I would say Coach Leslie's a competitor. They're trying to win as many ball games as possible. They didn't, especially here at home, they don't want to disappoint their fan base, laying down, allowing teams to come in and beat them. So I would think that the Hurricanes are trying to win this ball game. And that has to be the way. I mean, even though that both of these teams, the Miracles and the Highlanders, are fighting for that last spot, you're not doing the rest of the league any favors if you're laying down and allowing one team the advantage over the other team. And I'm pretty sure that the Highlanders are in for a fight on their home court against the St. John Riptide. The Riptide aren't laying down and allowing the Highlanders to beat them. It's a sense of pride. It's professional basketball here. Every time these guys step out on the court, they want to win basketball games. They want to improve their individual statistics so that they get an opportunity in another league elsewhere after the season's over. Statistics are very big individual-wise for these particular players. This is the development league. Let's make no bones about it, and let's not, sugarcoat it. The National Basketball League of Canada is a development league for individual players so that they can go on to a bigger and better league.
Fourth quarter, back underway here on a Sunday afternoon from the Scotiabank Center. Owen couldn't get that one to go. Tate with the ball. Story down. Pretty good third quarter for him, having a really excellent all-around game. But that time he came up with nothing, and coming up with the rebound there is Cox. The Zimmerman now. 30 seconds gone. Zimmerman trying to look for the big man, but now Washington was driving, and he gets the bucket and the bruise.
Where have you been, Mr. Washington? And he finishes strong with the left hand.
Miracles
19 on the afternoon now for CJ.
Gentil.
Very
His
good
second.
first 24 minutes.
Team
in
foul
this
number
ball
1,
game.
Washington at the line, trying to make it a
Gentil for
3-point
second.
play.
as well. 12 points in that first
Which
24
he
minutes.
does.
18 now on the afternoon for CJ.
99 to 84. Gentil hands it to Bird, catch and shoot for three, and lost his balance after he put it up, and it's no good.
Excuse me, I said 18, I meant to say 20.
Here's Cox now, entry pass, Washington.
CJ
Washington.
Make it 22.
Bird actually fell out on the play, and they took advantage of what happened there defensively there for the Miracles.
Miracles
CD,
foul
you asked
on
that
Terrell
question at
Tate.
the end of the third quarter.
His first.
What type
Team
of
foul number
response
two,
and what type of game
Washington,
plan are the Hurricanes going to
the
have
single.
starting this fourth quarter? We're seeing it. Aggressive, looking to win a basketball game, and that's what they do. Professional players look to win basketball games.
58 seconds gone there as Washington sinks that one. 102-84. As some of the ambient sound you are hearing is Coach McKeskey as Kearney in and out. Gentil, second chance, fouled, and now he'll have a chance to knock them down from the stripe.
Halifax foul on Anthony Cox. His fourth.
18-point game now, and Gentil will go to the line. He hasn't been to the stripe a lot this season. Coming into this one, 17 of 24, works out to be 70.8%. And hits the first one. Brian States and Paul McKeskey still going, jabbering back and forth here. (102-86). 10:46 left. Zerwin, it's by Story. Here's Bowen. Haywood out here, guarded there by Tate. Clock at 10. There's Zimmerman now. Good pass at Cox there with the clock at 5. Back it in on Gentil. Good defensive stand there by Gentil. In the meantime, they'll chuck the ball into their stats table close to our broadcast location. So it's going to be Hurricanes basketball with 10:18 left. We'll take a look at Story, Tate, Bird, Kearney, and Gentil on the floor here for the Moncton Miracles. Hurricanes have Washington, Haywood, Zimmerman, Cox. And Bowen. Zimmerman sees a lane. That's closed quickly there by the Miracles, and Matt Boyle with the foul. Called against Story.
Miracles foul on Malik
Call for the
Story.
reaching there, a little bit too much contact
His
on
second
that dribble
team foul
drive.
number 3.
4 seconds shy of the fourth. Here in the fourth quarter. Here's Haywood. And bucket and one.
Haywood and the
I think he got a finger in the eye as he was going back here towards
Moncton
center
foul
court after
on
getting the
Terrell
shot.
Tate.
Trying to shake it
His
off.
second team foul number 4.
Haywood having a very strong
Haywood at the
afternoon.
line.
5 for 7
Shooting
from
a
the
single.
field, 13 points now, trying to make it 14. Good to see Joey bringing some consistent offense off the bench. Like I said several times, I'm going to repeat this. The reserves are going to be very important in their playoff run for the Hurricanes.
They came up big here this afternoon, 105-86, 9:52 left here in the fourth. Kearney has to put the brakes on. Gentil can't handle the hot pass. Haywood puts on the burners. Hurricanes had a second chance, a third, and a fourth finally there by Washington.
Second chance points. No
Timeout,
different in that particular
Moncton.
trip down.
Timeout called here by Moncton.
Yeah, frustration setting in right now for Coach Paul McKeskey. Several conversations with the officials in regards to even out the fouls here and the physicality, and this timeout now is trying to reset things, but he's got to be focused on his team. He's got to get his team back into the mindset that get back to what they were doing early in that third quarter that allowed them to get within 9 points. Since that 9 points and that timeout call by Coach Mike Leslie, the Hurricanes have gone on a pretty nice run, ending that quarter up by 12 points, and they haven't stopped at the start of this fourth. They came out very aggressive, getting to the rim and attacking the rim and getting back to the basketball that they displayed in the first 12 minutes, where they held a 40-26 lead after 12 minutes. So
all that work that they done in the third quarter now
gone
by the wayside now.
Yeah, absolutely. So now they're back to square one where they were after 24 minutes. Huge deficit here, 21 points, a probably insurmountable mountain to climb this afternoon for them. Do they have enough left in the tank? Coming back from an 18-hour trip from St. Catharines last night, getting in at 7 a.m., getting about 6 hours sleep, and then making their way down here to play the top team in the Atlantic Division. Man, that's National Basketball League of Canada scheduling for you.
And on top of that, their game that they had in Niagara wasn't that easy either.
That is semi-pro basketball at its finest.
Well, for the Niagara River Lions' second year in the league, it's the first time they went to overtime. They said, yeesh, well, we're gonna do things fine style.
Exactly.
We're gonna go 3 here. And
you mentioned compounding the problem. That game went into, triple overtime. So
Bird fouled there by Coxey. Not too happy about the call.
Halifax foul
a lot
on
of
Anthony
adversity
Cox,
to overcome
his
this afternoon for the
team
Moncton
foul,
Miracles
number 2.
going into this one. And game of attrition for them, for sure.
And the thing is, they're only going to have a couple of days rest there before they get ready for the big game against Cape Breton back in the Moncton Coliseum on Wednesday. Haywood with the ball. He puts the brakes on. Here's Zimmerman. So
safe to say the biggest ball game of their season would be that game at the Moncton Coliseum versus the Highlanders.
And then come back Friday. So you're looking at, you talked about the travel schedule they had,
Dixon
and then like 3
in.
games in a short amount of time. That's really going to be a lot expected here. And you mentioned a lot for this broadcast about like them not really having like a strong second unit as opposed to the Hurricanes having some.
Yeah, and that's the luxury that the Hurricanes have had all season long, that the reserves can step in and perform just like their starters and win ball games.
Washington's the only starter out here on the floor right now, 8:47 left. Dixon! And he's going to go to the line as he was fouled there by Beatty, as the frustration starting to show here.
Miracles foul.
Not a good
on
closeout there
Beatty.
by Beatty, as
His
Ronaldo
fourth team
can
foul,
knock
number
down that
5.
shot. We've seen him
Ronaldo
knock down
Dixon
several shots
fouled
from
while
beyond the
shooting a
arc, but with the
3.
shot clock
Shoots
dwindling
3.
and the pressure on Ronaldo to knock down that shot. He's not a very high percentage shooter from that distance.
Can't hit from the free throw line there, Dixon. 87%. It was actually perfect last year from the line for them, but that was, of course, his limited minutes. Going to the line for 3, sinks the second one. Makes it 108-86 with 8:45 left.
Yeah, very much improved his game is Ronaldo. Last year, definitely a role player with limited minutes throughout the season and the playoff run and the championship run, but this year has been looked upon to be a very good reserve, and coming off the bench he's been very good in the defensive play, rebounding and altering shots and rim protection.
Rates the teams and blocks as well. Beatty, and fouled by Washington.
Hurricane foul on C.J. Washington. His first
Beatty
team
will
foul,
collect
number
his
3.
thoughts here
Tied
before
by
going
Beatty
to
at
the
the line,
free-throw line with
shooting
8:35 left to go. So take a look at Washington there. Beatty will be short there of the first one, and that's also kind of hurt them here in the season as well, has been the free-throw shooting, which we talked about it earlier. 68.4, that's 9th in the league. And they go 1 of 2 of that trip. But they did shoot very well from the free throw line in their game against the Niagara River Lions, 77%. Probably deserved a better fate, but just wasn't really in the cards. Same thing for the Hurricanes, their last game too. Foul called here.
Miracles foul on number 13, Melvin Johnson.
Melvin Johnson called for the foul. It's his third.
Team foul, number 6.
Zimmerman to inbound here with 8:18 left. Too easy. Washington second chance bucket.
Washington.
He goes on. Those second chance opportunities and points off second chances have been very good this afternoon, and they're continuing to hurt the Miracles.
Beatty puts on the brakes, then puts the shot up and drains it. Makes it 111 to 89. 7:56 left. Dixon inside. Nice pass, and there's not much Story can do. Just puts his hands out and says, nothing I can do about that one with the easy bucket.
Unselfish basketball there displayed by Ronaldo, but good spacing and clear out there by CJ as he was able to hold off his defender.
His second.
Great positioning underneath him. Great catch on that one-handed pass as well.
CJ, speaking of him, he'll get his second foul there.
Otieno taps in for Halifax.
Otieno coming in to get some minutes here.
Malik Story at the line,
left.
shooting 2.
Story from the line gets that one to go. So, of course, while we have this chance, we want to thank the hardworking staff here of the Silver Vision crew. We've had a lot of television production people work on the broadcast throughout the entire year, so we want to thank them for their hard work. We want to thank the Hurricane organization and also thank those who have filled in. Matt Elliott, Alan April are filling in for us, so thanks for their hard work here out for the regular season. Of course, we'll be back here for playoff action. The opponent yet to be determined. The first round should start around about the first weekend in May, but we'll definitely keep posted to the NBL Canada website for the latest as a free shot by Zimmerman goes. 116 to 91, 7:14 left. Ooh. Here's a foot race. Bowen, slam, dunk with the one hand. Off to the races and then down it went. Lucius now will swing it here to Bird. Bird driving, backs in on Otieno. They're called for a jump ball. Is it going to be? No. Brian State says it's going to be a foul going against the Hurricanes. And it's going against Otieno. Bird to the line.
Foul on Otieno.
6:50
His
left.
third, team foul number 5, Russell Bird at the line, shooting 2.
Bird a little frustrated on that last offensive trip down and coming off of multiple screens underneath the basket. It looked like he either slipped or got tripped. And racing back the other way and an easy run out, one-handed jam. It was Bowen.
Gets both free throws, 118 to 93, 6:49 left to go. Hurricanes, of course, after this one, will head on a 2-game road trip to Ontario. It's tapped in there by Washington on a second chance. Been the modus operandi this afternoon for them.
Yeah, CJ's been very good this afternoon. Just to finish up on his statistics. Second straight double-double. And with that second chance opportunity, he's 2 rebounds away from a triple-double on the afternoon. So you can see CJ's games are rounding into fine shape, coming off of multiple injuries halfway through this season. But at one point, he was their very best offensive player and led the team in scoring for points per game.
Another second chance opportunity. Otieno from downtown.
Lights out, lights out. If they can score like this in the second chance opportunities and rebound the basketball offensively, they're going to be very tough to beat in that first round.
Wong, who we haven't seen a lot here tonight, hits that 3.
Wong for 3.
Didn't have many minutes in their game against the Niagara River Lions either. Saw him in the first half, but I think it's the first look we've had of him here in the fourth quarter. 5:36 left in this quarter and the game. Owen had that nice slam dunk there. Now Aaron Oden gets the bucket. 125 to 96. There is Wong, guarded there by Washington. Oh, nice move, but didn't put the shot up. Beatty now has an open look in the corner for three. That's short. Tapped and right into the hands of Washington.
It's one rebound away from a triple-double for CJ. So lots of time left. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to get it.
Bowen now sets the screen there. Was Dixon. Ochiero put the break on. Now drives off the window and in. 5 points for him.
Your
Very nice
Hurricanes
move and
lead
hesitation
by
dribble there, blow by, and
31.
kiss off the window there by Otieno. You can see this guy's got some offensive game. In limited minutes, he's been not spark. At some points throughout the season, he's been very good and sparkling. But you can see in that last possession down, he can get it done offensively when given the opportunity. He's going to get his opportunity right now in this blowout.
Played his basketball for the Alberta Golden Bears, was a member of the Iowa Storm last year. That doesn't go, but Dixon loses the rock, but it will stay with the Hurricanes. In the meantime, Mitchell and Gentil
Tim Mitchell
will come in as Beatty will
Gentil
come in here.
for
Have a
Moncton.
sit down, and Bird will as well. 4:07 left to go. Very well know that the hopes of coming in here for a win, those have really gone down by the wayside right now, especially seeing the
Mike Poole taps in
results
for
being
the
down.
Hurricanes.
Looks
by
like
31.
Joined
CJ will end this one this
by
afternoon.
Jamal
Won't
Gatali.
get that triple-double. One rebound shy for the triple. I'm probably sure he's probably quite aware of his statistics. Most of these guys are quite aware of their statistics throughout a game, but great job by CJ this afternoon.
That's in and out. And coming up with the board there is Jamal Gatali out of Slippery Rock University, getting some playing time here in the late stages of this one. Lucius, and it goes down. Nice move, 127-98, 3:46 left.
There are some bright spots for the Miracles, that's for sure, offensively. Like I said, touched on it. That starting five is very good for the
Dixon from downtown.
From
Fantastic stats that he had.
downtown.
43%, 24 of 55 coming into the game, and he'll improve those numbers as well. 3:23 left, 130-98. There's a deep three that doesn't go there for Lucius. Lucius, who came into this one with 6 straight games in double figures in points. On his way to 7 now. 3 minutes left to go. Zimmerman with the ball guarded there by the aforementioned Lucius as the screen set here by Poole. Puts it up, and that's no good. Poole with another second chance opportunity.
Mike
And the harm.
Poole
He'll go to
and
the
the
line to
harm.
knock down a free throw.
Miracles
It's gotta be
foul on
disheartening
number
right now if you're a
33,
Miracle
Tim
fan.
Mitchell.
You knew they were up against it based on
His 4th penalty
their
in effect.
travel,
Poole at
their
the
road
line,
travel,
trying to
and
make it
the
a
way they,
three-point play.
transitioning
Malik
from the
Story
Central
checks
Division
in for Moncton.
back to the Atlantic Division. You knew those things were going to be a factor, but it's just very disappointing where they were able to
Looking pretty good,
pretty much get this
Halifax.
game
What do you
down
think of your
to single
playoff-bound
digits
Halifax
and within striking distance
Hurricanes?
in that third quarter. Now be up, down by almost 30, 40 points. It's just got to be disheartening for their fan base.
Gatali fadeaway jumper
Jamal
rolls around, so
Gatali.
he'll get on the stat sheet with a bucket. I think for Gatali, it's time for him to maybe, show McKeskey what he could do here. They may need him in this big stretch of 2 coming against the Highlanders. Here's Zero using the Dixon screen Poole, and Dixon unable to handle the pass, loses it, as the Moncton Miracles coming back the other way with it. 133-30, Wong for 3, rattles around and down it goes.
Daryl Wong for
133 to 103 as we're coming up to 2 to go in the 4th quarter. The Moncton Miracles looking at now being down, depending on what the Highlanders are doing here in their game. One game behind in that fourth and final playoff spot is Todd McGinnis has got a foul here. As going against Zimmerman.
Hurricane foul on Zimmerman, his third. Team foul number 6.
His
Tonight
third,
at 11,
16th foul.
CTV's Rick Grant is going to do a half-hour expose on how much better the city of Halifax is than the city of Moncton. You're going to want to tune in.
Shawty now. Here is Wong.
Rick is retired, but he's doing it anyway.
Leaving his feet was Bowen. Entry pass. Shawty inside. Swatted there by Dixon. Second chance opportunity. Wong gets it.
Wong.
Tally up to 1:34 left to go here in the fourth. 133 to 105. Zimmerman swings it to Poole. Now Zimmerman with the ball. 80 seconds left to go here in the fourth. Good ball movement here by the Hurricanes. Shot clock at 4, driving towards the paint. And unable to get it was Poole. And Jonty with the board. And turns it over. And Jonty holds Poole in the process.
Miracles foul
Things
on
here,
Cordell.
you get into like
Shunty.
mistakes get to be made close to
His
the end of this
third.
ball game, and all of a sudden the
Mike
concentration
Poole,
goes
the
off
line,
its,
shooting 2.
off the tracks. As Poole will go to the line. Was given a gift there by the Miracles.
Yeah, this whole second half has pretty much been a gift for the Miracles, giving it this one away after that tremendous pushback in that third quarter. It's been all Hurricanes in the fourth. Aggressive nature defensively and offensively, the attention to detail of attacking the rim and not settling for jumpers has been definitely the game plan in this fourth quarter. They're up to a very comfortable lead in this fourth.
Less than a minute to go. Story, step back 3. Yes,
Malik
over Zimmerman.
Story for 3.
Had a little separation, took advantage of it. 44 seconds left to go. Hurricanes will improve to 27 and 11 here. And the Miracles will drop to 13 and 25.
Yeah, and just a quick check-in on that game and at center 200 between the Highlanders and the Riptide. The Highlanders getting it done thus far in the third quarter, lead 58 to 49. So if you're the Miracles, you're thinking, man, tough loss this afternoon, but you're hoping that the St. John Riptide help you out.
Let's give it up for the hard scrabble play of our friends from up the 102, the Moncton Miracles. Give it up for Moncton, Halifax.
Between them and the Cape Breton Highlanders.
Team's going to go 1 for 1 here as Mitchell puts that up and in, and Hurricanes will probably just inbound and
At
get
the end of the
line.
game, as an extra thank you, some T-shirts are going to fly into the crowd, courtesy of your Halifax Hurricanes.
And they will hold it
inside,
here.
there's some tickets
Final
to the
score,
Harlem
135
Globetrotters.
to 110.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final score.
Moncton Miracles
The
now
Moncton
have
Miracles
to regroup.
110.
Get ready for these
Your
a
Hurricanes
two-game
heading to
series
the
against the
playoffs,
Cape Breton
seeded
Highlanders,
number 1.
and pretty well know that they would have to
135.
Must win out
win out. The
to
combination.
advance. They definitely gonna have to win out to advance if the Highlanders can get it done against the St. John Riptide at home at center 200. But if you're the Halifax Hurricanes, you got to be thinking, okay, who would I much rather take on in the first round in that fourth spot? And it has to be the Moncton Miracles. No disrespect. I mean, on the season series, they're 7-1. The only loss to the Miracles were at center 200. Sorry, excuse me, the Moncton Coliseum. I mean, they finish up the regular season at home with the 15-5 mark, the Hurricanes. So you want to take on the Miracles. On the flip side, the Cape Breton
That's
Highlanders.
a classy team from a classy
gotten it done
town.
here
Give it up
on
one
the
more
road and
time
not
for the
beat
Moncton
this
Miracles,
Hurricane
Halifax.
team in back-to-back games. So what do you take? Pick your poison. But I mean, I think the poison would definitely have to be the Moncton Miracles and not the Cape Breton Highlanders if you're the Halifax
They haven't
Hurricanes.
shown any mercy.
The Halifax Hurricanes thank the
They beat the Highlanders pretty
2,762
easily here
fans
Wednesday night. And the same
for
thing
coming
here
out today for our last regular season game.
Let's give credit to the Highlanders.
And
they
now
started,
it's
once they
T-shirt
left Halifax,
time,
boom,
baby,
they
at
got
the
2 wins.
microphone.
They definitely have the momentum
Yes.
going their side.
Welcome,
Big time. And
CJ
the switch,
Washington.
turned on. I'm not sure what happened or who had to address the team, but I would imagine that some of the leaders in that locker room, some of the veteran players within this league, know how to
Don't
get
forget
it done.
to check
They
those
definitely had a
T-shirts.
conversation that,
A few of them
guys,
have
look, our
Harlem
season's on the line.
Globetrotters
If you
tickets
wanna
as
play
an
more
added
basketball,
surprise.
We got to win basketball games, and they've been able to get
Halifax
that done.
playoff
winning consecutive
packages
basketball
are
games.
only
So right now,
available
they
on
have a game
April
in the balance
until
where they're
April the
ahead at home
26th.
in front of the friendly
Reserve your
confines at
seats
Center 200,
today.
and an
Single game
opportunity
tickets
to
go on
advance
sale
a lot
May the
easier
1st through
when
Ticket
it comes to the home and home
Atlantic.
game starting on Wednesday night.
The
at
Hurricanes,
the
thank you for
Coliseum
joining us
versus the
today.
Moncton
We'll
Miracles.
see you in a week
the
or
destiny's in
so
both
at
of those
the
teams'
first
hands
round
when it
of
comes
the
to making
playoffs.
that, the playoffs and getting that, capturing that 4th and deciding spot.
All right, final score once again: the Halifax Hurricanes defeat the Moncton Miracles 135 to 110. This will wrap up our regular season. We'll be back here for playoff action, game number 1 of the Atlantic semifinals. Who the opponent will be yet to be determined. And if you want to find out the latest results, go to nblcanada.ca for the latest. So for my broadcast colleagues, Vince Williams, the Silver Vision crew, and all of us here from the Scotiabank Center, my name's Dan Hobson. Thank you for tuning in. So long from the Scotiabank Center. You've been watching NBL Canada on YouTube.